Very good morning to you. Thank you very much for watching KBC Channel 1. This is Biz Check. My name is Betty Kiptum. Over the next 2 hours, we shall be having some very important conversation. The first will be about sustainability funding and startups accessing funding, ensuring that the brain drain that has occurred in Africa is being reversed. And a very able Jonas Tesfu, who is the CEO of Pangea Accelerator, is here to talk about that. Within the second hour, we shall be talking about strengthening local food systems. Why is the farmer earning less even as the cost of food prices goes higher? That conversation will be happening in the second hour of the program. We shall also be linking up with our reporters who are in various locations to bring you the updates on stories making headlines across the country. Well, let's start off with that particular conversation on matters sustainability funding. And Jonas, thank you very much for joining me here on set. Karibu sana. If you can just introduce yourself and what Pangea does, please.
Absolutely. So my name is Jonas Tesfu.
Yes.
I'm a CEO and founder of Pangea Accelerator, and we are an investor and accelerator program, meaning we find talented young entrepreneurs and businesses, and then we help them grow from being a small team to being a team of operating in many countries and employing a lot of people.
And of course, it's a very important topic, considering that the unemployment rate is very high in this country. The few that decide to go into business, SMEs are choking up, left, right, and center. So how exactly do you do it?
Yeah, so luckily, businesses encounter the similar kind of problems. So it's problems around how do we sell more products and access more market. It's a problem around organizational structures and design and governance. It's areas around financing, right? And then you have areas around what you call like product and how do you build it and continue developing on it. So we have worked with about 300 businesses so far in 6 years and become really good at solving these problems, but also building a big network of corporate partners, other investor partners, government. And so we're basically very good at curing headaches that small businesses have. And luckily for us, because they are quite similar, we've been systemizing how to cure headaches.
Right. So we've seen a lot of startup funding coming into Kenya, especially in the East African region. Kenya is the leading country that's attracting this funding. What are we doing right, and what more could we do?
Wow, a lot. Kenya is doing a lot of things right. I mean, first of all, the communication and the branding. Kenyans are amazing at branding, like the whole Silicon Savannah. That was the first thing. M-Pesa. We're still speaking about M-Pesa. It's like... It's probably going to be a topic point in the next 5-10 years too. I mean, if you compare, for example, say Kenya with Ethiopia. Ethiopia has 120 million people. You would expect that a country which is more than twice as big would mobilize a lot more financing, but it's not even close. So I think last year Kenya had about $1 billion USD. Ethiopia was around $10 million. So you're beating Ethiopia with 100x, basically. So Kenya is doing a lot of things right. However, even though you get $1 billion coming through into Kenya, a lot of it is absorbed by the big companies still. So Twiga Foods, etc., they get, a few $100 million investments or loans, etc. So, but Kenya has a lot of, they're good at branding. There's almost 90 different kind of ecosystems, hubs and support systems now in Kenya, which is very good. The main competition for Kenya is Nigeria, and Nigeria has been coming for Kenya since the whole Silicon Valley thing. They've been taking ground step by step and surpassed Kenya. Egypt and South Africa. That's it.
Right.
They're doing great. Like East Africa, Kenya is the champion by far. Nobody's even close. Forget.
Right. So we are attracting all this money. It's coming in, and yet within the year last year, and I think 2 years before that, we've had a number of startups folding or having to downsize, despite the funding that is injected into them. What is happening?
All right. So this is what you would call drinking the Kool-Aid. Okay. So the whole Silicon Valley mission and vision and principle is they're surrounded by money because they're in San Francisco in the US, right? So the principle is grow at any cost. So if I get money in from an investor, it's not about being profitable, spending it the best way. It's about growing it. So I can show the investors, look how much I've grown, and they throw more money at me. And so on it goes and goes and goes. Great if you live in an ocean of money, all right?
Right.
Silicon Valley. Now, if you apply the same principle, but you're in Kenya, which is we get money in, and now we're just going to spend it on all kinds of stuff in the name of growth.
Okay.
But now you don't have that unlimited access of financing. So at some point, you're going to hit the wall, where it's like, oh, sorry, but we need to see profitability. We need to see all these business core stuff, right? And that's when they're now either go bankrupt because they can't get investment in, or they get a downturn, so they have a very high valuation, it goes up, 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 and now they have to take a valuation at 80% discount, 90% discount. So it becomes mismanagement, not because of incompetency, but because you're literally copying a recipe from how you grow an American company, which has a lot more access to financing, and you're literally applying the same principle here.
So if Africa, or Kenya to be specific, is to have more M-Pesas, you know, what do entrepreneurs need to do in terms of understanding the market that they are working in?
I think there's a few things here. When it comes to understanding the market, there's a lot of new markets being opened also. Just saying. And entrepreneurs, and I think specifically here in Kenya, if we can jump on those sectors and become champions, not only in the region, but Pan-Africa, huge opportunity. That's why we focus on climate, for example, and climate tech. Why? Because right now, and there's a lot of financing coming into the climate space, and also climate space tied to creating jobs, right? So anybody that's a young entrepreneur that are figuring out amazing solutions to environmental climate problem, or could be agri-food, could be food loss. I mean, it's very broad climate. Now, these are sectors that are new, meaning that we all are on equal ground, right?
Right.
So that means if you're opportunistic and you move fast, you could literally be the champion of these spaces. So we think the timing is right, and we think Kenya is already a regional champion. Could it be a Pan-African champion in climate financing? I think so, and that's what we're betting on.
When you talk about funding climate tech, there are a lot of competing causes, so to say, for people who are going to fund things. And considering that, you know, Africa is suffering the impacts of climate change, there are a lot of problems here, but that means there's opportunity for solutions. Do you think our entrepreneurs are up to task, and are they doing what needs to be done, and also fast enough?
Short answer, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they have enough insight, not even close. But I don't think we're making enough effort of presenting those opportunities either. So we can blame the students as saying, hey, or the young people, and be like, guys, why aren't you solving this problem? Why aren't you addressing this opportunity and so on? Easy. But then, who is showcasing these opportunities for them, right? And if nobody's doing it, why are we assuming that it's obvious for them to see these opportunities? So I look at it as like equal responsibility here, because I think we need to promote these sectors and promote these opportunities. Now, entrepreneurs will jump on it. But if nobody's promoting it, nobody's showcasing it, nobody's talking about it. So I can give you an example. Blue carbon in Africa, $40 billion a year. And this is today. And this is going to be growing. It's going to grow to over $70 billion a year. Just opportunity, right? I think in Kenya we sold blue carbon for like $26,000. So we're not scratching the surface, right? There's nothing. Now, who is speaking about blue carbon opportunities and how you can use technology to create jobs for a lot of young people? If nobody is, Is it so easy for a young entrepreneur sitting in Kisumu to be like, I have this great idea, I'm going to go into the blue carbon space, I'm going to create a machine learning software, I'm going to figure out how I can use satellite data, train a machine learning to now basically automate validation for carbon sequencing when it comes to mangroves and so on. $1 billion opportunity. But that connection is not easy to be made. So I think we need to speak a lot more about it. I think we should have some element of education, just speaking about opportunity areas. Well, look at AI. I mean, you could literally sit today in high school in Kenya with a smartphone and figure out any clever AI that is coming out, because there's new AIs all the time, and create a business and start making money. Because people don't know you're using the AI to deliver. They have no idea. Because it's new stuff all the time, nobody knows. So you can literally sit and create so many jobs just around AI. But then the question is, who is presenting the opportunities and who is driving it, right? So I think even here, if you had a Ministry of Education that was focused just on practical, easy stuff that doesn't cost anything, not tied to any institution, just as part of, maybe part of the hustle strategy or the fun, but just like 100 great ways to hustle right now and earn money as a 18-year-old Kenyan, starting with zero financing budget, no need for investors, and just use your phone. Why not?
So you're saying there's more that the Kenyan government needs to do?
I'm not only saying that, I think we as a whole need to do more to promote this opportunity for the youth. But if Kenya government came to the ball and said, yeah, we want this to happen, problem be solved. Then everybody else can sit and chill, right? Yeah, because now you have systemized it. Information spreading around opportunities for young entrepreneurs or freelancers or call it general digital hustlers. Why not?
And what would firms like you, what is your role in, like yours, what's your role in this? I mean, you work with startups on a daily basis. What are you doing, and what could the industry in general, yourself and others, do to fill that gap?
I mean, for us, we solve problems through our accelerator program.
Yes.
And through the way that we invest and the way that we support businesses we invest in, basically. And the way that we mobilize others to also invest. Diaspora is one of the stakeholders. So what we have done with the over 300 businesses we have worked with is, how do we get them from very early stage to a maturity stage in a very short time, basically. The other thing we work with is, what is a good mindset, strategy and approach to have as part of growing your business? Because we really believe that if you focus on your basic, like business basics, like profit margin, and always making sure that you're running a healthy business and don't get deluded with, oh, I need to grow there. And you could do it poly, you could do it steady. That's fine. Don't need to rush it. Now, making money is not that difficult because there are a lot of opportunities everywhere. So I think that we work with, we support with our system in different areas where they need support. So if they need websites up, they need business plans, they need financial prognosis, they need whatever. Investment readiness, connections to investors, different business experts. We have over 200 mentors. So we're good at solving problems, and we have a whole system for solving problems, right? So that's why we usually say we help small businesses grow. Now, what can others do? I think the biggest opportunity probably for the financial institutions out there, banks, MFIs, hopefully the neobanks. I guess they're starting to come up now in Kenya. Now, financial inclusion, working capital, access to different kinds of investments. Because now, the biggest problem now is like Kenya shilling is what, 17% interest rate? I think US dollar is like 12.5. Very difficult running a healthy business. But what if you're running a healthy business and you're doing a lot of social impact, etc.? Because now you have all this free donor money you have no interest rate. You don't have to pay back. It's just free money. But where are the hybrids of those two? Why isn't that allowed? So now, if you are a business doing amazing stuff, are we able to create financial tools and vehicles to provide, I guess, very beneficial terms to businesses that are really, really developing society? Because the financing is there. It's just that we segment it and we group it and we say this money or can only be used for this and can't be repaid. This money needs to be on commercial terms. It needs to be a loan and it needs to be competitive, even though it's super expensive. And this needs to be equity investment and so on. So we're very good at writing these laws, but we have blended financing, right? So I think if we could mix some of this donor grant money, free money, with commercial money, and basically build social-focused financial institutions that can offer interest rate for asset, working capital, etc. for like 5-6%.
It would work, eh?
Boom! Now you're fueling, but you're also fueling the right one. Obviously, you need criteria, etc. There might be some banks and financial institutions that may not be happy for it, but from a development aspect and really bringing jobs happening and driving economy, yeah. Because now you will fuel so many businesses with having access to financing on reasonable terms, right? And if terms are not reasonable, you as a business will struggle because you have to pay so much.
For the people who are giving the funding, the financial institutions and even the donors, as you said, at some point it will stop. You know, you have to make business sense. Most of the social impact innovations, you're probably innovating for the people who cannot afford very expensive things, the lower end of the spectrum. How do you make sure that when, say, you're pricing your innovation or your product as an innovator, it makes your pricing right for the market, and you can also scale it to make business sense so that you're making profit? How do you balance that?
Well, to be honest, pricing I think is one of the most difficult things. Okay. Yeah, it's so difficult, yes, because you kind of have to go out and experiment a bit, test out, speak with your customers, try and identify what value am I giving you. Pricing is a reflection of the value. The more value, the higher price you can have, right? So they come together. They're like twins. So now, the more you understand about your relationship with your customers and what value you can deliver and that others can't, now you can experiment a bit with your pricing levels. Same thing is when you enter other regions. The other thing that is really strange with pricing is that they've done this different psychological experiments in different shops. Sometimes they just take the same item and they just make it super expensive and suddenly start selling because of perceived status. And status is a made-up word for us. It's just, this makes me feel more important. But for that person, it's value, right? People go and buy Louis Vuitton bags and all that. It's not because of the material cost so much money. It's because the status. So if you become very good at understanding your customers and how they perceive the value you deliver, now you can become an expert on how to create a competitive and a good pricing for you as a business owner. Yeah.
Just an example, is a lady from some West African country, I can't remember which one. So she said that her village, there was issues with water. There's a lot of water in the rivers and all that, but it's unclean water and it's dirty. People are getting sick and all that. So she just got these machines that clean the water, make it safe for drinking. And installed them across villages, and then the people would have to come buy the water at very low rates. And she managed to get some crazy amount of funding, and she has scaled, I think, throughout the country now. She's been working with the local governments, So when you just think about such solutions, they seem very small. It's water, most of us just wake up, you shower, you're taking your breakfast, you made it with water. But for some people, it's a very important thing, right? And that is the mindset that entrepreneurs need to have.
100%. This is why we're in this space. I mean, I'm a water nerd. We can speak about water for hours, literally.
Okay.
I love entrepreneurs like that. Yeah. And this is the kind of entrepreneurs we want to support. And you don't need to be a millionaire, you don't need to come from a special family, you don't need to be whatever your background is. Like, you just need to create ownership for the problems in your local community and start figuring out solutions. If you can now figure out solutions and you get going on your way, there are also support systems like Pangea who would love to help you and bulldoze the problems ahead of you, right? Like, I was watching this thing yesterday which I thought was so inspiring. It was this social enterprise in India where you pay school fees every month. It's optional. You can pay the money, or the other option is you collect plastic and you're delivering it at school. So they use, so if you don't have money in your family, you're basically like, okay, let's go out, collect plastic in our neighborhood, let's get busy. And then I think it's like 1.5 pounds or something. So then they come and they give it every month.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So now you're looking at it and you're like, holy schmoly. You're like, that's a beautiful idea. Because people are really struggling with these school fees. But at the same time, all this plastic is everywhere, right? So now just putting two things together and be like, let's create an option. Let's figure out how we can do it. Again, the guys and the team doing this, they're not millionaires. They don't come from some spoiled family. They don't come from whatever tribe or car. Like, nobody cares. Like, they just looked at the problem and said, there's so many families struggling with paying school fees. We are not being inclusive. And is there ways that people can use whatever they have to figure out ways to provide enough value that it's equal to whatever the school fees is? And then they figure out, what about waste collection and collecting plastic? There must be plenty of players willing to pay for that. And if we can get young people engaged in that and communities supporting and families going out and collecting plastic so the kids can go to school instead of needing to struggle with some work or trying to find some extra. Brilliant, right? Really brilliant. And it's very scalable. You can do it anywhere. So I think there's so much opportunities in this space to really create this kind of, support this kind of entrepreneurs from the lady you mentioned or whatever these guys are doing in India. And I hope somebody in Kenya that is listening to this, check it out. And if you can figure out how to localize it for here, do it.
Local solutions.
If somebody can figure out how to do this school fee thing, collecting plastic or other means of doing it, why not?
I mean, why not?
Why not?
Yeah, it's a win-win situation, right? Speaking of scaling businesses, there's an accelerator funding program that you've just, come up with. Please tell us more about it.
Yes. So a part of growing is also getting access to financing so you can grow.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's difficult. So Pangea is an investor. And we also have about 60 investors, other investors, with us on this. So we are offering funding opportunities from 100,000 USD up to 250,000 USD. We are also open to growth businesses that might need higher funding. This could be, Series A, etc. But our target group is businesses in this size looking for this kind of financing. But if we have 1, 2 that is a little bit more mature, it's also fine. It's not a
And how can businesses interested in this access you? I mean, what is the process? Maybe someone is listening that could fit in that list.
Yes, so we made it very easy. So if you just go to our social media channels, anywhere on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, pick wherever you are, go to Pangea Accelerator. There's plenty of posters and material. Just click on any of them. You come to a website. Here you have full information about what does the program offer, how is it structured, who is it for, and most important, how do you apply? So then we have a button that says apply, a big one. You click on it, and then it takes you 10 minutes. 10 minutes, you just fill it in, send, done. That's it. And then we will get it, we will look it through, we will take it with our selection committee and evaluate it.
Right, and of course, beyond just the financing, there is more that they will get from this program, right?
Yeah, they get to spend time with me. They get business advice, mentoring. Now, there's a lot of stuff. So we have both technical experts in those things. So if you mentioned this water entrepreneur, we have a lot of experts on water, from university institutions all over the world to people that are literally, what do we call, like water engineers, and are working with the most advanced water products on the African continent. So now, if you're that person and you're gonna work with water, now you want to be connected with people that are experts on water. They can help you figure out how to develop your water solution, right? So then, instead of you needing to run around and figure out who are these people and how do I get them and how do I incentivize them, then we already have those resources in place. So then we help you with those things, right? So this is a lot with technical expert mentors, etc. Now comes the area around investment. So many businesses want investment, but they haven't either they're not investment ready, or if you give them money, they would not spend it on the right things. You know what I mean? Basically that they think this is a good idea, they haven't thought about it too much, so if you just put money into it, now they will just take it in a certain direction. So now what you want to do is you want to use like a BS filter, if I can say that, as part of checking, like, so if you use the money this way, where would that bring you? How if you use the money this way? How if you use the money this way? Not to tell them how they should, but present different scenarios of which direction you can go. And the better way, and the better a business is at stretching every dollar, doesn't matter how much money you have, but if you just have the ability to stretch every dollar, things will move in the right direction. So we also work a lot on that. Strategies, how other businesses been growing, getting different experts to look through, for example, financial prognosis, growth stages, and then you have the technical stuff. So you are an AI startup, and you're building this kind of a climate database or marketplace. I don't know. You're doing something in AI. Now you're going to need different AI experts. Maybe you're going to need to figure out how this is going to influence policy, right? What does Kenya say about this? And who do I speak with in government? Or can I just release my AI stuff? Or do I need to get approval from somebody? So there's a lot of different things we offer. I feel like our main objective is to be smart money. So this is money that comes with a brain that is equipped to help you solve your most relevant problems. So dumb money is somebody just saying, here's money, call me when you are a success, and then you don't see that person. Because now you just have the money, but you don't have anything else. Smart money is money that comes with a system, a big brain, huge network, and ability to solve problems on your behalf. Right? That's a kind of like growth partner that many need. Many think it's just money. But once you dig into it, they realize that actually the other stuff is almost more important than the money. Because you use the money on hiring a bunch of suppliers. Now, half of those suppliers will not deliver quality work. So now you lost half that money. Now you have the other 5. And now you're trying to solve different problems. Oh, you need a lawyer to help you with your legal problems. You need an accounting auditor to do this. You need a marketing, branding, website to do this. So the money in itself is just going to be converted into hiring people to solve problem for you, right? So we are a problem-solving unit, and we bring the money. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that is our approach of like being a smart investor. Yeah.
Let's. You mentioned the issue of being investment ready. How does a business know that it's investment ready? What do you need to put in place so that when the time comes, you are investment ready?
First of all, don't use your friends or your family as like, you test me out, you be the investor. And then if the families and friends says, yeah, this is great, I would have invested in you. Now you're like, perfect, I am investment ready. No. There are different ways. Like one way is if you just Google like investor checklist, there are a few templates out there. We have one, for example. This covers 8 different areas. From team, organization, strategy. Do you have all the documents in place, right? Certification. Do you have a shareholder agreement? Most people are like, what is a shareholder agreement? That is agreement to protect you as an owner. So if you invest into a company, you need to know there's rules of engagement. So somebody can't just do random things and then you become a victim of that. So I need to know what I invest. So it basically helps you to check off what are the different things that an investor could ask? What are the things that you're concerned about? And they're quite comprehensive. But that's extremely healthy to, one, get a reality check of where you are, because most likely you're going to need to do some work, at least if you're humble, you know, and not just assuming you're Elon Musk or whatever. So it adds the realistic, it gives you realism, which is very healthy. Second thing is now, you know, it gives you a destination. So now you can start planning, how do I go from here to here, right? Extremely helpful. And then when you start speaking with investors, you will realize that when they ask you questions, you're like, you have already thought about it. Rarely do you get any question from an investor that you never heard or thought about. Now this is when you should feel confident and be like, you know what? Actually, yeah, we got our things together. Yeah, we figured all of that. Nobody's taking us by surprise. Nobody's asking us any question that we're struggling to answer. Now that's a very good sign. Yeah, most likely when you're feeling that, investment will come.
So the way you mentioned, it actually starts from the beginning, yeah, the idea. Where do we want to take this? How are we setting our legal, you know, this business as a legal entity, yeah, and all that? Do you think that this is knowledge that entrepreneurs seek at the start, or, you know, they're just surprised at some point in the process?
Surprised. They're so surprised every time. They're like, what? Yeah, because the last thing you want to spend money on as a young entrepreneur when you start off with an idea is start looking at like legal documents or even thinking about spending any money on a lawyer, right? Just like, no, we don't go away. so you want to focus on the fun stuff. Yes, you postpone it. But once you start asking questions, now it's apparent for everybody. They're like, of course we need that. So like, so how do you go about it? So luckily for them, we have like all these templates. So we just make it very easy for them, so they don't need to hire a bunch of lawyers, etc. But just make it simple for them. Like, this is like a standard, best-in-class type thing. You know, it has all these basic clauses. Start from there, and then you can adapt it to fit your organization. You know, spend 3 hours, discuss what are the important rules. How do we build trust? If we're letting in others, what are the conditions, right? And it can't be like, I should have special, you should have special, but they should have zero, right? Like, you know, be respectful, create win-win outcomes. And if you do that, and if you build this foundation, a structure that is a win-win outcome, investors really like that. Yeah, because it's nice to know that you're investing into a company that actually has taken some consideration on your behalf. Instead of somebody who's like, I don't really care about who you are, okay, whatever, but I want your money. Now you're like, I don't know if that is the tribe I want to join. I don't know if this is team seems a bit hostile, seems a bit like value extraction, seems to be very egoistic and quite like dominant from the perspective of, we know the answers, we just need your money and then you can buzz off. That is not a winning mentality. I've never met, like, the most important thing for me of like a successful entrepreneur is a coachable entrepreneur, a coachable person. It's almost like somebody that is not allergic to wisdom and good ideas, all right, if you're allowed to say that. Somebody that takes a medicine and then gets the benefits from it and is not refusing. So when you have a coachable entrepreneur and you have a resourceful system, you can achieve a lot. But when you're working with big ego and, you know, where humbleness is something that is far, far away, now, doesn't matter what kind of advice, you might even give them the answer, they will not use that. They will not take it. Or they take that one and say, thank you for this one, goes and have a team meeting, comes back and they have created this like a remix. And you can barely recognize a game plan. You're like, what happened? This was a good game plan. And you turned it into something that is not considered to be a game plan. And now you're like, these guys will never win. They won't allow themselves to win.
Well, it's sad. I hope they learn, you know, in the process. There are very many entrepreneurs that are seeking funding. I mean, I'm sure in every funding round there are 1,000,001 applications, and then, you know, you have to do the pitching and all that. What can an entrepreneur do to make sure that they stand out in this process, especially from your experience?
My favorite entrepreneurs are those that don't need investors or building themselves so they don't need investors.
Okay.
My God, yeah, fear of missing out. Then you as an investor definitely want to invest. Yeah, because being self-reliant and building for self-reliance is like very like attractive for an investor. Yes. Like the worst thing from an investor is somebody who's like, some of these, like, if you invest into like a machine industry thing, right? Somebody's manufacturing something, they need machines, etc. So it's like, oh, we need investment so we can buy this machine and develop these things and then sell them. Great, you invest. Now you buy the first machine, you start building, you start selling, you make more money. Now you're like, we need 3 more machines. So now I come back to you and they say, hey, thank you for investing, we need 3 more machines. Yeah, now you say, oh, and you're like, but I invested like 6 months ago. Yeah, but it's going great. So I need more money. So now suddenly every time it's going great, you need to put in more money.
Yeah.
Now, after 3 years, maybe they need 10 machinery. So you went in thinking you invest in one.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting there with 10 machines and you're wondering what the heck is happening. Nightmare scenario. What is the dream scenario? I need 1 machinery so I can get your money in now. After that, I have gotten access to this social fund to borrow money at a cheap rate or access to asset financing.
Yeah.
And that will be, that's it. So I only need money now. After that, I don't want to have any I don't want any dependency on an investor. Now you say, great, here's the money, run with it. Yes, because also for you as an investor, you don't want to dilute yourself. Because every time somebody's bringing in more money, you're watering out your shares. So nobody wants to sit in this never-ending, we're just going to bring in money, bring in money, bring in money. That's like nightmare. But those are setting up for self-reliance. Every investor will love them.
And I'm sure you've met them, those who are depending on funding forever, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And some of them are, some of these big businesses have been failing.
Okay.
Yeah, because they get more money and then they grow. They show them big numbers. And now you as an investor put in more money, right?
Yes.
That's how it works in Silicon Valley. So now you continue doing that. We need more money, we need more money, we need more money. So now it's not so fun.
You have to trust the process, as they say.
Yes.
Yes. Go slow, but you'll get there.
I think that's the most healthy thing to do. And I think that's a road with minimum stress and pressure. So I think that's the best option you have. I mean, even businesses that like use a profit margin to grow. Amazing. Yes, because now you can fuel in, you can put more money into it, but they're just running it so healthy. So they're making money all the way to the bank, from small to as they're growing. And then they add new revenue streams and figuring out new ways to expand and making money. Now that's, why not attempt to building that instead of this money-hungry machine that always needs more money, more money, more money, in a landscape or context where you know getting access to money is difficult. So why do you want to work on your weak sides? You're not putting yourself up for success in the future, right? While these other guys are just running this healthy... I had this like amazing entrepreneur. She was doing, she was taking the ugly avocados, the avocados that are not pretty and people don't want to buy.
You're calling them the ugly avocados.
Yeah, the ugly avocados. And she makes avocado oil. And she was exporting it to Russia or whatever, making like insane amount of money. Just using a profit margin and growing. So wanted to invest. She said, I don't need investors. I need support with this stuff. But like, please let us invest. I don't need it, we're covered.
I don't need your money.
Yes!
Yeah.
Try to build that.
Yeah.
Build self-reliance, I think, is much more attractive as a business, and to be a business owner of a business that don't need it. Now you can be tactical of bringing in the right kind of investor, the right kind of values, and the right expertise. Much better position to be in. So I think young entrepreneurs should try to go that direction and not really follow this Silicon Valley, I'm going to build a Airbnb, Uber in a year. I watched this movie with Zuckerberg. It was 3 hours long. He became like a billionaire in a month. You're like, no. That's movie. That's Hollywood. Reality
is different.
Different. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. So run a healthy business and skip all of that like Hollywood, Silicon Valley way of doing things.
Right, but do you think that over time, I mean, investors have seen how the African market works and how doing things the way Silicon Valley does will probably not work for Africa. Are they learning? Are they doing better as investors as well?
Mixed.
Okay.
There's a lot of competent investors locally, but then you also have a lot of international players who get money, and then you have all these development systems that just put in money in these systems that are not expert. We call them like tourist systems. Now, when you have a new player that gets a lot of money and just suddenly starts spending, it can go both ways. So that means also you will have a lot of access of not very good investors for the ecosystem. So I think it's difficult to say if people are learning or not, I would say. I think locally, yes. Internationally, I don't know. I'm honestly not sure about development sector. I absolutely don't think they understand this at all. But they are putting a lot of money into all kinds of financial vehicles. So that could turn into some negative effects, I think. Because dumb money and incompetence and somebody just spending reckless money on different things will turn bad. Like, did you hear about the Kuhne thing? The French guy who went to Paris. He was like, and then he got a few $1 million, and then 6 months later he went bankrupt, and also became this reputational thingy. I was like, how did this happen? But the people invested in it are responsible too, because you can't just throw money at things randomly. Yeah, so I don't know if it's stopping.
Right. So as we come to an end of this conversation, I feel like time has just flown past. What would be your message to an entrepreneur who is looking to hopefully one day be the founder of an M-Pesa kind of farm?
Start learning AI and becoming an expert on, be best in Kenya, if not the world, on understanding what AIs are out there and how do you use them. Yeah, because with that, you will be able to build all kinds of solutions and services very, very fast. Very, very fast. Many of these AIs are also open AI. And you can build wealth ridiculously fast if you do it. But you need to be obsessed with becoming expert. Not number 2, not number 3, number 1. So if you do that as a young, get it now, give yourself 6 months and experimenting and figuring out how you can commercialize this, I think you will make some serious money within that 6 months.
Right, focusing on being an expert.
Be an expert on AI.
On AI, yes.
On AI and how you can deliver services using AI. If it's within media, communication, financial analytics, anything really. There's very little, even legal stuff now. It's insane what they can do.
Yeah.
So if you can operate several AIs and be expert on using them, if it's Midjourney, if it's OpenAI, ChatGPT, whatever. Now, that ability of using this AI will put you in a position to be able to make a lot of money. If you combine that with climate space, khalas, now you're good.
Right. Well, let's take a quick break here. We want to take a quick breather on Biz Check. Remember, the conversation is about sustainability funding, and this conversation is happening with Jonas Tesfu. He is the CEO of Pangea Accelerator. When we come back, this conversation continues. Stay with us. Thank you very much for watching KBC Channel 1. This is Biz Check, and my name is Betty Kiptum. We are continuing with our conversation here on matters sustainability funding, and my guest today is Jonas Tesfu. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Pangea Accelerator, a firm that supports startups and grows startups through funding, as well as other ways, including mentorship. Jonas, before we went on that break, you were talking to us about the areas that an entrepreneur who is looking to, excel as an entrepreneur should focus on. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on. I think as an entrepreneur, you can be incentivized by many things, right? Some want to solve big problems, etc. Others just want to make money. So I think what I was speaking about, like, if you're a young Kenyan today, say you're 18 years old, your only mission is, how do I use my skills and my time to start making more money, right? Whatever. And you don't have a university degree. That's basically it. You have a smartphone, you have a place where you can get access to Wi-Fi, and you're 18 years old. Now, if you become an expert on understanding all the different AIs out there and how they operate, ChatGPT, Midjourney, and 100 others, okay? Because there's new ones coming all the time. If you become really good at using these different AIs, now you can become a personal assistant to somebody and literally do magic. That person will not understand how you're getting all these tasks done like this. But you're actually just using a bunch of AI to deliver this stuff in ways that a person doesn't know, because most people don't have time to become experts on AI. And because there's just more and more and more and more AIs being dropped, that means that being an expert on what AI is out there, how you can use them, and what value can deliver is a tremendous value to have. Again, I force all my employees to work with AI. We even have a monthly AI meeting where they have to speak about different AIs that they use and give recommendations. Yeah, because I need some young kids to educate me in what are the 10 latest AIs that came out this month. What can they do? How can we use it in our daily task? And yeah, what makes it better than everything else? So now, once you start applying that kind of mentality, 6 months later, they're using like 10, 15 different AIs when they do different tasks. Now that is employable skills. Yeah, very employable skills. So, but if you do that as an 18-year-old, you just apply that and you're just going to be obsessed around it, money will come your way, 100%. Because it's fair opportunities. These new AIs came out this month for everybody. It didn't come out earlier for the US, China, nobody.
Early release somewhere.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Equal grounds. Now you're going to jump on it first and you're going to become an expert on running this AI and figure out how to use it, right? Now you can start selling to a global market. You might have customers in Japan, US, Europe, somewhere else. You don't know. But opportunity is there. And because it's new, there's not many experts around. Apply that thinking like intensively for a 3 to 6 months period. Yes, you will have unique knowledge and insight that nobody else has that is super attractive, and you are able to solve tasks that others have no idea how you solve them. That means that you become some kind of a superhuman problem solver. As an 18-year-old, with 0 job opportunities, 0 prospects, you become a unique individual and have unique competence and insight that people want and need, and drives a tremendous amount of value. That's what I would spend time on if I just wanted to create opportunity for myself. Yeah. If I wanted to solve world, global problems, impact, we can take that for separate. But from a hustler mindset, become an AI pilot, apply this kind of thinking and spend time on it, specifically if you're one of the 560,000 university students. Yeah. I think you have a bigger chance of making money on this and this giving you a career than what you can make out of your diploma. That's how powerful I think this is.
Right.
And it would just be more and more powerful for every year. Do you believe we will release more AI solutions next year than was released last year?
Yes, very much so.
In 3 years' time?
Again, yes.
Yeah, so you're investing in the future, right? You're becoming an expert in a space you know will dominate the future. That's how you should think as an opportunistic 18-year-old Kenyan woman or man today. That would probably be my biggest advice.
Right.
Yeah.
That is very important, and I hope that, someone is taking notes somewhere.
I mean, we're trying to help in our way.
Yeah. Something we haven't talked about, as much as you're the entrepreneur, you have the vision, you're going to seek funding and all that, how important is it to have the right people in the company, hiring right?
I mean, very important. Yeah, because you don't want like a Kardashian show to be your company.
Okay.
And you don't want people in and out all the time. It just creates a bad vibe. So finding the right people and building the right culture and mentality will probably be your biggest challenge. Yeah. There's a lot of access to talent, but when you run a company and you're building your own culture, right? And you're building your winning team. Don't assume that expert just comes ready and you don't need to do anything. It's just plug and play and here we go and it's like a Disney movie. It's not. You're going to need to spend a lot of time, invest a lot of time in building a tribe, right? Mm-hmm. A grounded tribe. And what are our values? What is our personalities? What kind of people? What kind of mentality? Super important. I see a lot of businesses going south because of drama. That's why I started off with the Kardashian show. Because when you have money involved, it's influence. How much do you have? How much do I have? Do we contribute equally? You can find 100 reasons to fight about something, right? So yes, you need to that's why we work with early stage businesses, so we can look at how do we avoid all these problems by building a healthy foundation, by having a shareholder agreement. It sounds super boring. It's like a shareholder agreement. I don't want to Google that word. I don't want to know what it is. It just sounds boring. It's so healthy. Because once you have structure that, now you even have things such as when you exchange shares, instead of saying, you own these shares and I own this, you can vest them. What does it mean with vested? It's saying these shares is for the contribution you will have in the next 3 years. Not what you have done just coming up with the idea 50-50, we're done. No. We get these shares because we have promised ourselves we're going to commit work and we're going to do this, right? But what happens is after 6 months, if I'm bye-bye, I'm leaving now because I've met another friend and he had a cool idea, so I joined his business. I'm still going to keep my 50%. And then you're thinking, but I'm going to be I'm committing my part of the agreement. Does that mean that you keep the 50% and you work really hard and then I keep the 50% and I sit and create a new startup? In which universe is this fair?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Yes. This is what you would call startup problems. Okay. Yes, they come in all colors, in all formats, but they're all within poor governance, you haven't predicted this, etc. The solutions for all of this, very simple solutions, but it's much easier to apply the solution way before the problem has happened than waiting for the problem to happen and then figuring out what do I do when my business partner is taking half the company, keeping it and not contributing a single hour in solving our problems and leaving me with all the heavy burden of making this successful.
And cashing in at the end of the year.
You're not going to be motivated by that.
Yeah, no.
That's not fair.
Yeah.
But it happens.
It happens.
That's it. So things like this is what you need a growth partner for, is solving headaches. Really, really solving headaches. Because this could be a huge headache if you're committed to this. You're running this business. You've got maybe some of your family members investing in it. And then one of the most important foundations, your partner just leaves you like that. I want to keep it. Now, how motivated are you going to be? Do you want to make money for me? If I'm going to sit there and I'm not going to do anything and I'm going to work that?
No.
Do you want your hard work to benefit me in any way? No, that's not fair. I haven't done anything. So, again, problems like this happens. You even have problems with super aggressive investors. Or your early stage business, or want to invest in you. Okay, I can give you money, but I want 80% of your business. Now, then you're not an investor because you're basically taking this entrepreneur and you're turning that person into your employee.
Yes, you're taking over. It's a hostile takeover.
Yes, that's a terrible way of investing because you invested because you want a business owner to run it, not to take a business owner and convert it to an employee thinking this makes sense. Yes.
Wow, so there's a lot to think about there.
Unfortunately.
I think that's a great way to end the conversation. We've talked quite a lot. Thank you very much, Jonas, for sharing your insights on that.
Thank you so much, Betty. It's been a pleasure.
Sana. Asante. Welcome again.
Asante.
Awesome. That is Jonas Tesfu. He is the CEO in charge of Pangea Accelerator. We have been talking about sustainability funding, how startups can prepare for investment to make sure that they are investment ready when the time comes, and what kind of bottlenecks you need to look out for from the beginning of the business to ensure that you don't have to unclog the system much later when the business is mature. Well, that is the first conversation of Biz Check this morning. We shall be joining Stella Kimani to discuss agriculture and specifically strengthening local food systems. All that is coming up in just a bit. Do stay with Channel 1. Bye-bye.